What's up, Celtics fans? Buckle up because there's a lot to unpack after that roller coaster of a game one. Honestly, this was one of those nights that make you question what just happened on the court. The Boston Celtics had a golden chance to strike first in the series and set the tone early against a team they've pretty much handled all season long, the New York Knicks. But instead of capitalizing, they let it all slip away in dramatic, frustrating fashion. And yeah, we're going to talk about it. Let's set the scene here. Boston comes out swinging, playing with rhythm, moving the ball well, knocking down shots and defending with intensity. It was looking like business as usual. They built a commanding lead, and at one point in the third quarter, they were up by 20 points. That's right, 20. At that stage, it felt like they were just going to cruise through the rest of the game, maybe even give the starters some rest before game two. But if there's one thing you can't do in the playoffs, it's relax. Too early. And that's exactly what it felt like they did. The Knicks, to their credit, didn't lay down. They clawed, they hustled, and they chipped away at the deficit possession by possession. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't pretty, but it was gritty. And when Boston started missing shots, when the ball stopped moving like it was earlier, when the intensity dropped even just a little, New York smelled blood. What happened next was the kind of comeback that stings, especially because it was preventable. Now it's not like Boston got outplayed wire to wire. No, they were dominant for stretches, but the collapse was slow and painful. And to make matters worse, Kristaps Porzingis didn't even play in the second half. That's right, one of Boston's key weapons was sidelined, and they couldn't capitalize on the momentum they built in the first half. Instead, it was the Knicks who grew stronger as the game went on. It took overtime, but New York walked out of TD Garden with the win. And let's be honest, once a game like that goes to overtime and the momentum is on the side of the team, that just erased a 20-point hole. It's hard to flip the switch back. The Celtics looked stunned, and the Knicks took full advantage. Game one ends, and Boston finds themselves in a 1-0 hole in a best-of-7 series. Not ideal, and you already know how the internet reacted. NBA Twitter exploded. Memes, jokes, hot takes. Everyone had something to say about Boston's second half meltdown. Fans were in disbelief, wondering how a team with this much talent could fold under pressure like that. And it wasn't just fans, legends were chiming in too. Even someone like Magic Johnson had thoughts on what he called an epic playoff opener. Now, if you're a Celtics fan, you might be asking, how does a team that leads the league in three-point shooting go that cold from deep? Because that's where this game really flipped. All season long, Boston's been an absolute machine from beyond the arc. They're not just good, they're the best, averaging nearly 18 made threes per game. And the volume, insane, over 48 attempts per night. That kind of shooting defines who they are offensively. So for them to suddenly go ice cold at home in a playoff game after a hot start, it was baffling. But when the shot stopped falling, things got tense. Drew Holiday talked about it after the game. He said it felt like they were getting good looks, the kind of shots they make all the time. Wide open threes, second chance opportunities off offensive boards. And he's not wrong, sometimes the ball just doesn't go in. But when that happens, you have to find other ways to win. That's what separates contenders from champions. Coach Joe Mazzulla didn't sound too alarmed in his post-game comments. He said he liked the team's shot selection overall. That for the most part, they were fighting for quality looks. Sure, he acknowledged there are always a few shots you'd want back, but he didn't think shot selection was the issue. And maybe it wasn't. But the intensity, the focus, the urgency, that's where things slipped. And here's the kicker. Boston doesn't have time to sit around and dwell on it. This is the playoffs. You don't get to hit pause. Game 2 is already on the horizon, and they'll be right back at TD Garden looking to even the series. That's the thing with a best-of-7. It's a marathon, not a sprint. But if Boston wants to make a real run this year, they need to treat every game like an elimination game. They've got the talent, they've got the depth, they've got the experience. What they need now is the mindset, because the Knicks just showed the world that they're not afraid of Boston. They showed heart resilience and the kind of fight you need to win in the postseason. And if the Celtics don't match that energy from the jump in game 2, we could be looking at a much tougher series than anyone expected. So now it's about how the Celtics respond. Can they shake off the disappointment? Can they tighten up the defense, move the ball with purpose, and get back to being the lethal three-point threat we've seen all season? Or will the ghosts of game one linger just a little too long? All eyes will be on that next tip-off. Because now it's not just about tying the series. It's about regaining control, restoring confidence, and reminding everyone why Boston was one of the top teams all year long. And let's be honest here, this isn't just about one bad game. This is about identity. This is about the Celtics showing whether they truly believe they're built for a championship run, or whether these kinds of slip-ups are going to define them. Because the truth is, it's not the first time we've seen this story play out. A dominant Boston team that looks unbeatable when everything clicks, but suddenly becomes shaky when the pressure starts to build. The playoffs are where all the hype gets stripped away, and only the essentials remain: execution, discipline, and heart. You look back at that game one and think about the small moments. The missed box outs, the lazy closeouts on defense, the stagnant possessions where the ball stopped moving and guys just settled for contested jumpers. It all adds up. Those aren't just technical breakdowns, they're mental, and the playoffs punish those lapses harder than anything, especially against a team like the Knicks that thrives on physicality, hustle, and never backing down. Let's talk about Jason Tatum for a second. He started strong, looked like he was in rhythm early, hitting some nice shots and setting the tone. But as the game wore on, it felt like he faded. Not completely, but enough to where you start wondering if he's feeling the weight of expectation again. This is supposed to be his team, his moment. And when things start to unravel, your superstar has to step up and pull everyone back in. Line. That didn't quite happen. He made plays, sure, but not the kind of statement plays that shut the door on a comeback. And that's the difference at this level. Jaylen Brown had flashes too, but the chemistry between him and Tatum still has that awkward rhythm sometimes. It's like they're both trying to lead, but not quite in sync. And in a tight playoff game, that can cost you. There were moments where the offense just froze. Guys standing around waiting for someone else to take charge. And that's exactly when the Knicks pounced. Speaking of New York, give them credit. They played with heart. Jalen Brunson controlled the tempo late, making smart decisions, creating shots, and keeping his team locked in. Josh Hart was everywhere, doing the dirty work, grabbing boards, diving for loose balls. And their bench came in with energy, confidence, and a clear sense of purpose. They knew they weren't the favorites in this series, but they didn't care. They played like a team with nothing to lose, and that kind of mindset can be dangerous. Back to Boston, there's another layer to this that's worth digging into. The home court advantage. The Celtics earned that right through a strong regular season. They were dominant at home, used the energy of the TD Garden crowd as fuel, and came into the playoffs with momentum. But all of that took a hit with this game one loss. Now, instead of protecting your house and keeping the pressure on the opponent, you've given them belief, you've handed them confidence. And in the playoffs, that's a gift you can't afford to give. The pressure heading into game two is massive. Not just to win, but to perform, to send a message, to prove that game one was a fluke, not a preview. Because if Boston drops 2 straight at home to start the series, that's not just a setback, that's a crisis. Suddenly you're going on the road needing to steal one in Madison Square Garden, where the Knicks feed off that electric New York crowd. That's a tough hill to climb, even for a team as talented as the Celtics. One of the most frustrating parts of this loss is how avoidable it was. Boston didn't get outclassed, they got outworked. And that's what should sting the most. Effort, focus, discipline, those are things that don't rely on talent, they rely on mindset. And when you're up by 20 in the third quarter of a playoff game, the only thing standing between you and the win is your own approach. Somewhere along the line, the Celtics let their foot off the gas and the Knicks made them pay. Now, there are still a lot of positives to build on. The first half was exactly what you want to see. Crisp ball movement, active defense, smart reads. Derek White looked comfortable. Al Horford gave solid minutes. Even without Porzingis in the second half, the team still had chances to close it out. So it's not all doom and gloom. But none of that matters if they can't respond, because talent alone doesn't win championships. It's about how you handle adversity. And game one was a punch to the mouth. The Celtics are going to have to regroup quickly. Practices before game two need to be intense, focused, and purposeful. This is where leadership matters, not just from the coaches, but from the players. Guys like Holiday, Horford, and even Tatum need to set the tone, not just in the game, but in the locker room. They need to make it clear that what happened in game one isn't acceptable. that this team isn't going to roll over and that they're ready to fight. Because here's the reality. Championship teams don't avoid adversity. They thrive in it. They take a tough loss, own it, and come back sharper. They don't make excuses about missed shots or unlucky bounces. They adjust, they respond, they rise, and this Celtics squad has all the tools to do just that. But now it's time to prove it. Now, Wednesday is now more than just game 2. It's a test, a challenge, an early fork in the road that could shape the rest of the series. Win and you reset the table, regain home court, and send a message that you're still in control. Lose, and suddenly the pressure multiplies. The questions grow louder. The spotlight gets hotter. This is where we find out what this Boston team is really made of. Not just their talent, not just their stats, but their heart, their resilience, their will to win when things aren't going according to plan. So all eyes on game 2. The Celtics have been knocked down. The only question now is, how will they respond? But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Been a move that sent shockwaves through the basketball world. The Boston Celtics have announced the acquisition of superstar Kevin Durant from the Phoenix Suns. The news, which broke earlier this week, has left fans and analysts alike in a state of disbelief, as few expected the Celtics to make such a bold move in the midst of an already competitive Eastern Conference race. Kevin Durant, widely regarded as one of the greatest players of his generation, brings a wealth of experience, scoring ability, and championship pedigree to a Celtics team that has already proven to be a dominant force in recent seasons. With 4 NBA championships, 2 Finals MVPs, and an array of accolades to his name, Durant's resume speaks for itself. His addition to the Celtics roster instantly elevates the team to another level, making them one of the most formidable squads in the league. The Celtics have long been known for their rich history and tradition of success, with a roster that already includes stars like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Adding Durant to the mix gives Boston a true superstar in the front court, someone capable of taking over games in crucial moments and carrying the team to new heights. His ability to score from virtually anywhere on the floor, whether it's from beyond the arc or in the post, will provide a new dimension to the Celtics offense that could make them nearly unstoppable. The trade, which reportedly involved a combination of draft picks, players, and cash considerations, was a bold move for a team that already had championship aspirations. The Celtics have now solidified themselves as one of the top contenders in the NBA, and with Durant's leadership and experience, they will be a force to be reckoned with in the playoffs. For Durant, the move represents a new chapter in his storied career. After spending the last few seasons with the Suns, Durant will now join a team that has been in the hunt for an NBA championship for several years. Boston fans are already buzzing with excitement at the prospect of seeing Durant in a green jersey, and many are hopeful that this trade could be the missing piece that finally brings another title to the TD Garden. The impact of Durant's arrival in Boston is already being felt across the NBA. Teams in the Eastern Conference are now bracing for what will likely be a tougher road to the finals. The Celtics, with Durant leading the charge, will be looking to reclaim their place at the top of the basketball world. As the season unfolds, all eyes will be on the TD Garden, where the new-look Celtics, with Kevin Durant at the helm, are poised to make a serious run for the championship. The Celtics' shocking move to acquire Durant has set the stage for an exciting and unpredictable remainder of the NBA season. Basketball fans everywhere are eager to see how this new chapter unfolds for one of the league's most storied franchises. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.